France's Six Nations campaign takes a bit of a setback. England 23, comeback win from them. 20 points for France. It's going to be a controversial one, man. This one, disappointingly, is going to come down to pretty much a conversation about the Itoje try at the death. Talk about that. And, the rest of the game as well. But yeah, I got up 5:45 in the morning to watch this one, and if you're going to summarize the game in two halves, the first half is the one to watch. Absolutely cracking, phenomenal, fast-paced half. The second half was a wee bit of a drag. It was more a defensive effort. If you love tackles and good work at the breakdown, then the second half is the one for you. If you like a bit more free-flowing play, then probably the first half is the one to go. But anyway, I'll go over the stats, some of the key events, and you guys can let me know your thoughts on how this one went. It starts with cracking pace. France, after a bunch of phases, Dupont has a try. I think it's 1 minute and 8 seconds into this game. Does not take France long to get on the board in this one. Absolutely phenomenal start. Suddenly it's 7-0. And then England don't just take it though. Like England, who are the team that likes to go out and score points early, they put some pressure back on the French. They go 17 phases within the next few minutes and eventually get held up. They get another chance on 7 minutes, but some of the passing's a bit loose. You can feel the French defence is really pressing forward, and this is what they do with Sean Edwards. They look to make the other team uncomfortable, to make poor passes, and the pass is not just the pass that goes into touch from England, but the couple of passes before it were passes under pressure. They weren't, hitting the man in the chest. The guys are having to bend down to pick up the ball. So yeah, it's a win for the French defence, but it doesn't hold because Watson, only a few minutes later, he gets the first try of the game for England. Slade, who has a pretty good game, big line break from him. They get the ball to Ford. Nice cutout pass to Watson, who's got acres of space on the right wing. And suddenly it's 7 points apiece. And then only a few minutes later, England get their first lead of the match. The lead changes, I think, 3 times in this game. England get their first lead on 13 minutes. France concede a penalty at the breakdown right in front. England duly slot that one to make it 10 points to 7. France concede another penalty again on 11 minutes, trying to force a ball turnover. And it's one where maybe it's partly a language thing, but the referee is kind of clearly communicating that their attempt to force a ball turnover has failed. I can't remember what wording he used, but it was time for the French guys to kind of back off. I think they were saying the ball's available. So the French guys needed to get their hands off it, but they don't. So, it's another penalty conceded. So just that kind of stuff, which is, I don't know, it's just a little bit, it's a little bit unnecessary if you're a French fan. 20 minutes, England have a charge down. Curry manages to charge it down. I think Wilson's the guy to regather it. And then it's Dupont who gets charged down. And he also manages to make up for it by forcing a knock-on for Ben Youngs. Youngs is sometimes a little bit slow to the ball. I see a little bit in this game what people were complaining about, although he did try and force the pace a bit later on. But yeah, a bit of a microcosm of that game for Dupont, I guess, in that he makes a mistake and then he makes up for it with a bit of good play. 29 minutes, 29, 27, 24. My notes are really poorly written. France have a huge scrum, and neither side really gets full dominance in this game. The scrum penalties do go both ways. That one goes France's way, and I was wondering, is that going to be a momentum shift? Like, you'd be surprised how many times a big scrum from your forwards can shift the whole momentum of the game. And surely enough, a few minutes later, Jalibert went absolutely crazily close to getting a try. But Slade is the man who managed to kind of knock the ball defensively as Jalibert was trying to pursue a little kick through. Slade managed to get a hand in the way. So, they had advantage though. They go back for the penalties. They make it... They get within 3 points. It's 13 points to 10 at that point. Peno, though, gets a try on 31 minutes. Proper thing of beauty. Like, honestly, the first half was constantly close chances, big penalties. And Pinot's try was a proper thing of beauty. It's a set play. It's a line-out move. Goes completely deep. It goes to Fiku. He gets the ball to Dupont. And Jalibert is in acres of space. I think Johnny May has to bite back in. Because if he doesn't, then Jalibert is just going to go to the line himself. So Jalibert has to to shovel it out to Pinot. But that means Pinot's got acres of space of his own. So he goes over and they kick the conversion from the sideline. Lead changes again. France back in front at 17 points to 13. Crazy stuff. Like proper well-worked try. They'll look back at that one and be patting themselves on the back of the coaching staff for that one. 38 minutes, England get a breakdown penalty on their own line. This one was maybe a little bit controversial. Some people say Curry didn't release. Some people say Marco Vunipola was a bit slow to roll away, and he did slow the ball down a wee bit. But it means France miss out on a chance to get one more score before half-time. It goes into the sheds with France with that 4-point lead. Possessions 54-46 in France's favour, but the territory is reversed. It's 54-46 to England. Concerningly for England, handling errors are 5-2. So a little bit of a black mark for them in that regard. And their tackling percentage is relatively low, below 80%, whereas France are at 90% in that first half. Second half is a different story. England definitely dominate like the traditional possession and territory stats. And then France just win penalty after penalty after penalty at the breakdown. I think all in all, England concede 8 penalties at the breakdown in this game. The majority of them would have been in the second half. Pretty tough to watch. Like, there was no continuity. There was very few times the game built those phases in the second half. France got a big turnover, like breakdown penalty on 42, and then again a few minutes later, 49 minutes, France get a penalty. They kick it, so it was 20 points to 13. England on 51, like a bit of obstruction, like unforced error from them. So again, no continuity. They can't quite get the attack going. 53, France concede a line-out penalty, which is a poor one because it's not much contact in the air, but there's enough contact for Andrew Brace to give the penalty. So it's 20 points to 16. Then England's scrum gets on top on 55 minutes. Again, it's maybe a bit of a momentum shift, but no, because France win another penalty at the breakdown on 57 minutes. 59 minutes was a weird moment where I feel like England are maybe getting a bit frustrated. Like on the back of a scrum, Youngs just takes it blindside. Absolutely nobody with him. He's tearing down the blindside. He chips and chases, and it just goes out on the full. At that moment, I was thinking England maybe here are a bit all at sea because they just can't build any phases. France's defence and their breakdown work is just shutting everything down. But England are still the ones knocking on the door, don't get me wrong. It's just that door at that point is firmly shut. 73 minutes or 71 minutes, England go through phases. The French defence wins another penalty, and a couple of minutes later, England are really trying to move the ball quickly. They knock it on, but you can feel the intensity is lifting. They're having to force the play because the clock is not their friend. 74 minutes, England win a penalty at the breakdown near halfway, and I'm thinking that's very kickable for England. They got some good goal kickers, but they opt to go for touch, which proves to be a masterstroke. Obviously, hindsight is 2020. 76 minutes, they've got a line out, they maul it. Itoje goes over. And at this point, my son has woken up from his slumber. He's come into the room. I've got the game on the TV, which has got terrible sound because I wanted to put the sound on him for him. He's only 5 years old, but he likes to watch the rugby as well. He gets up. I can't really hear what the hell's going on. I wasn't sure what the on-field decision was, but people have told me as I was doing a live stream that the on-field decision was held up. So the TMO needs to have definitive evidence that there's otherwise to reverse that decision. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's my understanding, is that the on-field decision was not a try. The TMO has a look at it and decides that it's a try to Itoje. And there's hands all under the ball. I think Thomas is one of the ones trying to hold him up. On my little tally here, I couldn't see any ball hitting the ground, but I think it was Joy Neville's got probably a big old 4K TV. Maybe she saw some pixels that I couldn't see. but it seems like a tough one. Like if the on-field decision is a try, then maybe you can say, well, there's nothing in that shows me definitively no part of the ball hit the ground. But if the on-field decision is not a try, I don't know that there was enough in that footage. Maybe I'm wrong. I'll go back and I'll have a look at it. I'm sure there'll be an upload of it, and I'll get out the glasses. I'm already wearing glasses, but I'll put my nose an inch from the TV and see if we can see it. France do have a chance though right before the death. So I should say that puts England in front, 23 points to 20. Farrell kicks the conversion. France have a chance at the death, but eventually they knock it on. I think it's Dupont at the end who knocks it on as they're in England's half. Yeah, so it's all going to be about that TMO call. The whole game is going to boil down to that TMO call. I mean, good on England for getting the win. It stuffs France's campaign to a degree. Now Wales have to drop a game, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, the first half was a cracker. And the second half, if you like breakdown penalties, was a cracker as well. But neither attack could really break through in that second half. Possession finishes 52-48, so England turned that stat around from the first half deficit. Territory 58-42, so England extended in that regard. Offloads was 10-6. I think that's more than we've usually seen from England, so they were throwing the ball around a bit more. Handling errors 9-8. Maybe neither side will be very happy with that. Penalties conceded 12-8, so England still with the discipline a little bit poor. But yeah, Watson gets man of the match. He has 4 broken tackles. He has 83 run meters from like 8 carries, so a really good return from him. Wilson, I think, has 12 from 13 tackles, maybe one of his better shifts in this game. Teddy Toma has 7 broken tackles, so he is still very dangerous. Couldn't quite hold up that Toje try. Yeah, Willemse has 18 from 20 tackles, although he conceded one of the silly penalties. But anyway, that's the game, folks. Interesting one. Controversial one. What is it with the Six Nations and the controversy recently, people? Anyway, good game. Like I said, game of two halves. Very different from half to half. But if you're going to get up before 6 a.m. to watch a game, it's nice to have a proper ding-dong battle, lead changes, tries, controversy, where we could do without. But anyway, it's England with the victory. Eddie Jones, pressure off for him a little bit. And yeah, it's another one where France maybe haven't been able to quite finish off a game when they got themselves in front. But anyway, credit to England. Good win. Take it all the way to the bank. You guys have any thoughts on the game? Try, no try, it's going to be what it boils down to. If you've got a bigger screen than me and a 4K TV, tell me, did the ball hit the dirt or do you think it was tough? Anyway, you guys have any thoughts? Talk to you again soon. See you later.